presentation for those of y'all that count the slides. Start with free kicks. So positioning. So the main thing here is just to communicate between everybody. So when I'm working my 1A and 2A football games, I'll tell my back judge to slide up because I don't kick it that deep. So I stay on the goal line and the back judge slides up to the 10 or the 15. And that's just to box it in better and communication there. And then in terms of the wing guys and the umpire, make sure that y'all are all on the same page, ready to go, beanbag in hand for those anticipated or for those surprise short kicks. Referee, back judge, carry the runner to the wing officials. So by carry, I mean we take them. My pregame, I'll take them to at least to the 40. So that way, the wing guys aren't running back. We're coming to you. And then, who has the goal line? Umpire. Who else kind of should have the goal line? Line judge, yeah. And if I'm bringing the runner to the linesman, then he should also be able to have an advantage, at least a head start, so he doesn't have to come back very far. But he should be up there as well. So we're going to talk about just ignore the muff here and just look at the goal line coverage on this one. We're going to ignore that part. It's going. There it goes. So the umpire's there. A little bit there.
The umpire should just wave it back.
Yeah, when the umpire gets there, line judge gets there. Well, that's pretty well covered for us. I mean, we're not going to outrace these kids. But we need to stay as close as we can. So that way if he does drop it early, we have some sort of visualization of that. All right, so on this. All right, so who's going to ask the coaches what they want to do on this? Wing guys. Yeah. Right. So just ask your head coach what the option, and then we have to remember, there's that 5-yard option. So if that ball goes out of bounds between the 30 and the 35, they may choose to take the 5 yards from the sitting spot and actually gain a little bit of yardage. So just remember that there's an option from that standpoint. Who primarily gets this call? My umpire. And what does the umpire do when he sees that? Mm-hmm. Yep. And then for the wing guys, beanbag in hand. Now the coach tells us in the pregame that the first kick, that they're going to do an onside kick for the kickoff. Did we do anything differently?
No, we should have.
No, we can't. So even though we know it's coming, and we want the back judge up there, we can't do that, because if we do that, it gives it away. So we just have to hope that it surprises the other team and it's not close. You don't want like this. There it is, and then it's just a massive humanity right there at the 50-yard line. We would love to have the back judge there for that, to help out. But when that happens, those two wing guys have got to get together with the umpire and make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure that nobody saw anything differently from that standpoint. It's going to be primarily the linesman, because he's got that line. However, the umpire and the line judge need to get up there and say, hey, we didn't see anything unusual also before we award something like that. So if towards the end of the game, if we think they might onside kick, then I'll tell the back judge, hey, go on up there, and then I'll move I don't go all the way to the middle of the field. I'll go to about just inside the hash, towards the side, just because there's two guys on the home sideline. So they do kick it deep, and then bouncing around over here somewhere. The back judge can slide down. But there's only one guy on this side. So I like to at least stay in here so that way I can get the sideline if I have to. So I don't go quite in the middle. But if we anticipate a short kick, then we just go up there like that. Okay. So now I go over this in all my pre-games. I'll bring it up, and it didn't happen. But this is where we're supposed to be if they're going to kick a field goal after a fair catch, or for free kick after a fair catch. So I'm on my usual spot. I get the goal line. It's easy for me. The linesman's got R. The umpire's got K. Now the umpire's moved to the sideline, so he needs to tell the kicker, you have to wait for the whistle, and then get to the sideline, and then below the whistle, and ready to go. And the back judge, line judge, y'all got your usual spots. This. Did they line up correctly? Linesman's in the wrong spot. The umpire's right.
Umpire.
Linesman. So nobody has R's line here.
They got K's covered though.
K's good. The line judge.
Keith, was that you?
Yeah. So, and then there's still no referee in this video. He's not up here. Sometimes I watch it and he's still not showing us yet. Yeah. So referee, goal line. I don't know. It had to be on the whole side because you see the entire train side. And this is one of those that if this happens in your game, just get together real quick. And even if you don't remember where you're supposed to be, two are going to go underneath the goalpost like normal. Somebody has the goal line, somebody has K's line, somebody has R's line. So either just make it up real quick between the three, or remember where you're supposed to be. But we have to cover those lines. You always have to cover on any free kick. You have to cover K's line, R's line, and the goal line. Those three have to be covered.
Yeah.
And however that happens, doesn't matter.
Here, I mean, neither team will know what the hell they're supposed to be doing anyway, so you're gonna have time to get it out.
Yep.
I mean, the coach that's saying he wants it, more or less he knows what's going on with the other.
Yeah. The time you line the players up and the time I line myself up, then we got plenty of time.
Joe Tuberville did it at Irmo a number of times.
Yeah. Any questions or comments about free kicks?
That's fine.
Corey. I don't want to look at that. Punts. The punts are probably the one area that I think we have the least amount of coverage. If you consider the amount of space that we have, I think punts are the one case where we don't have a lot of visualization of what's going on. So what is the linesman mainly responsible for? Who has a snapper? Right. Who has the deep receiver? Back judge. Right. Who takes the ball if it's over the receiver's head? And then who takes the receiver? But does the back judge turn over the receiver completely, or does he still have to keep an eye on it? Keep an eye on it. You can't just the back judge and the ball goes over your head, just completely ignore what's going on field. Because that line judge may not see the fair catch signal, especially if there's some stuff going around the line of scrimmage or he's got somebody that gets blocked out of bounds. He may not be looking all the way downfield, so he may not see that initial signaling. So back judges, it's a lot, but you still have to keep some peripheral vision on that deep receiver or receivers. All right, so referees. So I like to be on the kicking leg side. Okay, I am not even with them. I don't like it personally to be that. I feel like if I'm even, Dennis is the kicker. I'm even with him, and I'm looking at Dennis. I don't like having myself turned like this away from the line of scrimmage. So I will come back a little bit and open myself up. That's my personal preference. It's not in mechanics. And I don't know if I'm supposed to teach mechanics, but we'll vary it a little bit. John, what do you like to do? You get on the yard line and you back a little bit.
Actually, I might be a yard ahead because obviously he's catching me and stepping up. So I want to be able to see that, and that gives me I think a better view of the blocks in the front and make sure there's no, somebody comes in, they cut in to try to, and that way I can see him actually. I kind of where the ball is once he kicks.
Dennis, what do you
Say, where I expect you to kick it.
He's the same place we always been hoping.
Eckert, what are you laughing at? At least I don't get my shirt caught in the 25-second clock at Chapin.
I didn't say anything.
You're laughing.
Hi, Tyler, what do you do?
I get up, I'm kind of even with the punter, but I get wild. Grass grows back. I used to stand where you were saying and almost got hit by the defense end coming in there to try to block.
Griffin.
Yeah, so I think we have to be comfortable with the vision that we have on this, because that right here, this happens really fast, and they're really sneaky about popping up, and you have to be sure that thing was on the ground or not. And honestly, with this camera angle, we don't actually know where he caught the ball at. So did he short hop it, and was he getting up when he short hopped it, or did he catch it with the knee down? And we have to make sure that we can see that from that standpoint. All right, so wing officials for punt formations. We're counting the backfield, right? Just like any other scrimmage play. That doesn't change. Drenning brought up a good point. In the mechanics manual, it says before the snap, wing officials count the backfield, and if there's more than if there's five or more, then drop a flag. Well, that's not what we do before the snap. We count, and then at the snap, we will drop our flags. So that's a error in the mechanics manual from that standpoint.
Yeah, great catch, Doug.
So on this play right here, you got 5 in the backfield. So how many flags should we have?
2.
2. And whose flag should they be?
Wing guys.
Wing guys. Right. Who is responsible for knowing the ineligible receivers?
Umpire.
Primarily umpire. Who's responsible for knowing the eligible ones? Wing. Back judge, if you can see the numbers. Referee should know the punter and the deep geyser. So this back judge, he's got 2 guys deep. So I'm not a back judge, but he looks to be about even, maybe a little in front of the widest guy. Does anybody have any issues with where he's at? No. I think he's pretty good there.
Gary, go back a couple of seconds.
Back a couple of seconds.
So the white hat, you think he's on the end line?
I think he's outside, and he needs to be on the end line. Yeah. So he's down here by the YouTube logo. He's outside. He's outside the end zone.
So that white line is just your tap.
Maybe that too.
Yeah. He's probably on the end line.
Okay. How about that?
I was just thinking back further, that's what my point is.
Right.
We should, white referee needs to be on the end line in those situations. No further, no deeper than that. It means nothing.
And it gets really tight. If they're punting, if they're snapping it from the side there too, to punt, standing on the end line, it's tight. It's not a good feeling. I hate it. I'm like, no, y'all don't screw this up. Just keep screwing up.
The other thing you gotta remind the back judge is gotta be on the opposite side of the line.
Not always.
Not always.
No,
They
not
took that out. It doesn't have to be. Most of the time, yes. Right. But on this one, so let's say you got two guys here, and this was the linesman side. Then, you know, the back judge has the option to go to the wide side if he wants to. But it does leave a gap. So if the back judge, and so beware, if the back judge goes to the line judge side, that leaves a big gap over here on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Why would he have to go?
He has the option to go to the widest side if he chooses. Yeah. I mean, he has the option. I mean, it's, you know. Right.
I mean, the line judge is on this side, that's the line.
Yeah.
The home team is over here. They're in the dark area.
But he has, the back judge has the option. Yeah.
Line depends on that.
This is the home side.
That's the home side. Is it a dark area?
To adjust.
You got to weigh like.
So that when they're punting for the line judges, when they punt this deep, it's okay to take that extra half second to make sure the snap's good and the kick gets off. Because you think about what are the lines that we worry about. With this, it's the goal line reverse. So a bad snap, partially blocked because you know they're punting tight. The block being optional. So taking that extra half second, because a lot of times if they're punting that deep, kick's not going to be very good, or they're going to just call it fair catch. It's going to be short anyway. So don't rush to get out of there. Make sure you pay attention and see what's going on back there. From that standpoint. Okay, so when so we just talked about this. So the wing guys, they will who releases at the snap? And what does the linesman do? He holds. He holds. And even when the ball crosses, what does he do? Holds another second. Can't go wrong with holding. All right, so ball snapped. This is the linesman side, I believe. Yeah, linesman side. So he's holding. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's the line judge side. So yeah.
Well, Jordan, I know that's not you and me. This is BC.
All right, now, what do we have now? Who's got the ball? Yeah. So what does that mean?
Right there, it's their ball. Because the kick has not in.
Well, when Jay picks that ball up, what happens to the down? And it. So what should have happened? Now you blow the whistle.
He's down there.
He's still here. There he goes.
Kick never in.
Alright, so
But.
offset, fix it up, start running. So everybody needs to be killing that thing.
Sam, did you put the 20 seconds back on the clock?
And why does, oops. And why does the linesman stay? Why do we worry about if the kick crosses the line or not? What can happen?
They can pick it up and run with it.
Okay, K can pick it up and run with it.
They can pass
They can do, but the ball, if K gets it behind the line of scrimmage, it's live. They keep going. And the only person that's going to know that is the linesman.
He's drifting. He's drifting.
He got back.
So where the referee, watch for the referee. So this is where I go. That's kind of where I want to be at for my punts. But that's a preference for me. I don't get even with him or in front. So for the linesman, it has to be for the linesman. I know it's against every instinct for most of us not to move, but this is the one scenario where you just can't move. I don't care what happens. I tell my linesman, I don't care what's going on. You just stand right there. And we got 4 other people that will take care of the rest of it. But that one line, if you think about with the kicking game, think about the lines and the lines that are important. The goal line is always important because what happens if a kick goes into our end zone? Touchback. So kick goes into our end zone, it's a touchback. It does not matter what happened in the field of play, who touched it last or anything like that. It's a touchback. You think about for a scrimmage kick, for a punt, and even for a field goal, the next probably most important line is that line of scrimmage. Because the difference between K picking it up beyond and in or behind is dramatically different. And so that's the next line that we have to have is that line. So those 2 lines. So those 2 lines have to be covered no matter what. And the goal line, the back judge will get. And then that line of scrimmage has to be the linesman. And it's only the linesman. And that play there, I'm going to come up to the linesman. I'm going to go like, where did he pick the ball up at? And I need an answer. Got to have an answer. And that determines who's going to put the ball in next.
You gotta be careful, Garrett, when considered a bad snap and you're scrambling around back there just fun. You have a tendency to move back and help cover that play.
But that's been the teaching for years, is that the linesmen would go back. But you can't.
That's what the umpire was responsible.
Yeah.
Not longer.
So you can't. I don't care what they're going on back there. You have to stay, because if he's scrambling around and he kind of picks it up and he kicks it and it only goes 8 yards and it's spinning around out there, the only guy that's going to know that is a linesman. So he's got to stay.
You got to be concrete.
Right. If on this play, K picks it up and everybody stops, and there's a whistle blown. And K picked it up behind the line of scrimmage, we have an inadvertent whistle. So then, did the whistle occur during the kick? K's already picked it up, so the kick is ended. So the whistle occurred after the kick. So now K has options on what they want to do. If the whistle are blown before the kick ended, so K kind of touches it, and kind of drops it, nobody picks it up, and somebody blows the whistle. Then the whistle occurs during the kick, and then what's the option for a inadvertent whistle during the kick? Automatic replay. automatic replay.
I don't think he's the guy that picked it up ever had this.
No, I'm saying if. Yeah, he never did. Yeah. We talked about this one already. So fair catch instruction. So prior to the first punt of the game, what does the back judge do? Tells the back judge that Chuck's showing, tells the deep guy how to give a proper signal. And then if it's sunny, you know, in the September before this, we set the clocks back. Sometimes it's a little sun. He may let him go. You know, you can do this number, but otherwise you got to give a good signal. Chuck, do you do that before every punt or just for the first one?
I usually tell them I'm stuck with 3 times.
And then why does the back judge tell the referee of a fair catch occurred? Why do we care? Ball placement. And what's the other thing we've already seen that could happen? Take a free kick option. Yeah. So those are the 2 reasons why the back judge should tell the referee if a fair catch occurred. That standpoint. All right, and then what's the blue bean back for? Mark the end of the kick. All right. And why do we mark the end of the kick? What in particular? PSK. Yeah. So the end of the kick is the PSK foul, the basic spot. So that's what the blue bean bag is for. Chuck, the guy that if K picks it up to down it, downfield, do you drop the blue bean bag still?
I try to make sure I have it. That lets everybody in the stadium know that I've got the ball in the
I think that's a good habit because I think if you start kind of guessing, well, I'm not going to drop it for this one, but I'll drop it for this one, you may forget to drop it for the right one. Whereas if you just drop it every time, I think it's a good habit to do. Yep.
It's probably also helpful, and couldn't see the field of that DC game, but when he picks it up and runs it 40 yards after they possesses it, it's awful helpful to have a beat back right there.
Right. We've already kind of talked about this one also. All right, so how about this one? So the back judge on this. So they're punting it from about, I think they punt it from about the 45 to 50 yard line. So when they're punting from that spot, what's the one line we talked about that's most important? Goal line. So he gets over there, and does it matter where the player is, or does it matter where the ball is? So on this one, what happens if this guy gives a fair catch signal? Can't block. So who takes him over primarily? Who has eyes on that guy primarily if he gets a fair catch? Line judge. Primarily. That just still needs to be aware, but the line judge takes that primarily.
He's that close to that goal line. He's got to take his eyes off.
Yeah, and that's a feel thing. So when they're punting around the 50-yard line or in, the line judges, because more times than not, if it's a decent punt, what's that guy going to do? He's going to give a fair catch to him, and he's going to vacate. He's going to run off. And the back judge has to take the ball. So just be aware of situational awareness, game situation, and for the line judges, and just really make sure you pay attention to what that deep receiver does. Because sometimes they'll give that signal, and then if the ball's rolling around, they might try to go kind of block somebody off of it to keep them downing it inside the 5. And you just have to be aware of that standpoint. Chuck, do you straddle the goal line if it's something like that?
Yeah.
You just stand. So you saw that back there. He kind of ran over there, but he could have just gotten the goal line and just stood there and straddled it. And that way his eyes aren't moving. When you run, your eyes move. So for those of y'all that do baseball or some other sports, and they talk about don't try to make a call while you're moving, and that's why, because your eyes are bouncing up and down. Our eyes aren't, they're not stabilized. Right. All right, so return goal line coverage, my favorite. So who gets the goal line on a punt return? Referee. We get to do it. We don't get to do it often. And normally it's like this, a punt way deep in the end zone. So honestly, I don't have to go very far. You know, I don't have to run. So we get to do it. And if you see the guy coming down the sideline as a referee, what's the one thing you have to do before you give a touchdown signal? Look at your wing guy. It's the one thing that we never, ever do on a regular basis is look at anybody else. So we have to make mental note to look at the wing guy. And of course, he's always like crowded out by the cheerleaders and the media people and everything else. But eventually, you'll find him and give some sort of nod, yes. If the wing guy has him out of bounds, what should he be doing? Yelling at him. So that way everybody knows. Fast night, not getting heartburn. Oh, there we go. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Did we give a touchdown signal at the 2-yard line? No. Get to the goal line. You got time. Get there. Take the extra 2 steps and get there. You know. Now, I'm not a big fan. Again, I'm not a big fan of the wing guys getting too far off the line, too far off the sideline. Because I think that if you keep drifting in and in, then you get in this case, well, he's worried about getting out of the way first and foremost. He's like, oh crap, they're all coming at me. Let me start backpedaling out of the way, and he gets a little behind. I think I don't think you have to be on the sideline the entire time, but I would caution against drifting too far inside. Okay, I'm not a wing guy. I know that's some of y'all may disagree with that philosophy, and I'll be glad that we can talk about it. But I think especially on something like this, where he reverses field and comes all the way back to the other sideline, you don't want to get caught in a position where you're backpedaling, trying to figure out where the sideline is, and now you're going. Does anybody disagree with that?
Depending on the formation, I mean, if they're on the far hash, I might come out to talk the numbers if you're in tight. So, you just gotta know how well you can move.
Right.
In this case right here, they came back to the slide.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So you gotta know what you can do.
Right.
You gotta have your own capability.
That's the only side, downside. They reverse it back on you.
Yeah, I think he starts okay. I don't have a problem with the way he starts, but if you watch what he does,
I never go to.
he's back. He should be pinching you. But he kind of keeps coming. He's inside the numbers. He's inside the numbers when they start reversing. He's backpedaling. You know, he's not done backpedaling before he's going down the sideline.
That guy can't move anyway.
So if you're going to pinch, just make sure you can get back on something like that. I would not, me personally, a couple of yards in, a couple steps in, is fine. But I wouldn't get as far as he was inside the numbers. To me, that's a little too far. All right, so punt block coverage. So we've already talked about, the linesman, he's kind of out of it. I mean, he's got to stand there. And so even he's going to be slow to react naturally, which is what he should be. on anything that happens bad back towards me. Okay? And I actually want him to do that. I would rather him be slow to react to what's going on with me than to be fast and miss that line that we talked about. So I'm going to take the goal line. So this is one of the hardest ones for me as a referee because you have the goal line and you have the end line. And so you kind of have to kind of hedge a little bit to wait to see where the ball goes. If that ball had like stopped around the 1 to get picked up, now I've got to get up. Okay, but that goes in the end zone, I'm going to the end line. And I got to get to the end line. John, anything different philosophy-wise there with you? Dennis?
You're gonna get help from the line judge.
Yeah, the judge should be coming back to help, but the linesman, I would rather be really slow. Okay?
That line judge is gonna be there. He's gonna delay himself.
Right.
When he thinks they're blocked, he just goes back to that goal line.
I mean, in that case, really, the lineman shouldn't move, period.
No.
I mean, until the ball's dead.
Yeah,
As long as it's back, as long as it's behind the line of scrimmage, he shouldn't move.
Yeah, I don't want him to move. The punt out of bounds. Okay, I make it up. I don't have a clue. Okay, I mean, there's no depth perception in most of these. Well, the fields I go to now, there's absolutely none. But, you know, there's no lights. There's no lights on the ball. Even
It's over it. Garrett, get over it.
You know, it is.
It's not good.
But so what happens? So he kicks it out of bounds. I want to add first. Kicks it out of bounds. So what should happen? What should the wing guy do? The back judge. Go beyond, come back, and I chop, and then pick a line.
Garrett, in my pregame, I'll tell them that if they look at me and I start shaking my head, that means I don't know.
Right.
And just do the best they can. I mean, I don't.
But you tell them go past the spot.
Go past and come back.
Up, chop them in.
He kicks it out of bounds. He's walking. That's where they can stop it. He's walking, and then somewhere, the referee is going to stop him. I don't even know what this highway is.
Sam, that's on the snap, dude.
And often, I look for the guy with the brightest shirt, the biggest, tallest dude over there, because that's where everybody's eyes going to be at anyway. So that's kind of my philosophy. One night I was at Dutch Fork back before I could, back when I was a good referee, and they did one of those rolling kicks where the guy rolls out to the short side and punts, and it goes off the side of his foot, and it just shoots off. And I'm looking at Coach Knox. It was his punter. And he's just shaking his head, cussing. And I said, you know what? I walked the wing guy all the way up next to him and stopped him right next to him. And he looked at me, and I said, I don't know what it went out of bounds at, but you're standing right there. It was about everybody else, But yeah, that is a guess for the referees. And so if any referee tells you they know where it went out of bounds, they don't. So that's how you do it. So Dennis, that would be some more math there. That'd be an angle. See where the ball goes and see the angle.
Because of the attendance at my game.
East Carolina.
All right, field goals.
East Carolina.
So field goals are pretty basic. Well, again, what does the linesman have? Line of scrimmage. And does the linesman move? No. And who's got the snapper again? All right. And what sort of communication should the back judge and line judge have on the field goal?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no, and no snap. Who has a whistle?
Well, Well, a lot of times, going to the back judge, the line judge also communicate who they see is eligible versus
Yes.
not.
Yes. So they will, those two guys will call out who's eligible and who's not.
We have trouble deciding whether to cross or bounce over.
So who's got that? This in the middle here.
The umpire.
He's got that. He's got that. And did we step in high school? No. Yeah, that's what happens to this guy. And remember, this is a safety issue, so there's no leniency with this. This is a safety issue. You get that early. I'll talk about that one. All right, so the field goal that is short of the goal line. Is that a live ball?
Yes.
Is it treated like any other scrimmage kick? Yes.
Yeah.
So what sort of signaling do we do on a field goal attempt? Rolling fist to again visually cue us that this is a live ball. Yes. And so this is partially blocked, I think. It comes up short. Now, what does the back judge and line judge do when they see it's going to be short?
This is Danny's play.
So where does the back judge go? Goal line. What does the line judge do? Sideline and up. Okay, so he's got to get. So the line judge has got to get to the sideline. And who has the goal line on this?
It's return.
There's
There's Danny. There's Danny.
got a late start.
Touchdown! I'll text you. See, you missed it.
So who has to know? So who has to know if the ball crossed the line of scrimmage or not? Does the spot recover? Does the spot matter if it's picked up by R? Where it's recovered, in or behind? Does it matter if R gets it? No. No. And who has R's goal line?
You're supposed to have it?
R's goal line. R's goal line. And who has K's goal line?
It's referee.
Right. So let's talk about field goals and R's goal line for a minute. They're kicking a field goal inside the 20. Now there's an area there that's not covered very. That's a line that we don't get very well, do we? Because the linesman can't move until he knows the kick is passed, and even then he needs to wait a half a second to make sure he knows he knows. And then the line judge is underneath the goalpost. So if the ball is rolling around at the 1 or the 2, gets partially blocked and is short, there's a gap there. And we just have to be aware of that, and there's a gap to that line.
You got to tell the line judge and the back judge, once the field goal is obviously short, get up to the goal line.
To get there.
Because if you have a thing in the next, it won't be in the state paper, but 103-yard field goal return, which they've shown.
Yes.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Nobody can know that but them. They still standing underneath the goalposts.
So we have to be aware that is something that those deep guys have got to get to. Now, what if they're kicking a field goal from the 5? Again, the linesman's not moving. However, he's closer, so you can at least see that he's closer to it. So they have a little extra coverage in there, a little extra help. And then even the umpire, if they're kicking inside the 5, there's no reason why the umpire can't slide the goal line if he had to and be there to help.
You still have to watch that center.
Right.
They normally slide in where that line shows.
Right. So they're off to the side a little bit. But as a crew, we just need to know that goal line is there, and we need to do the best we can to try to get some coverage of that goal line. It's not going to be perfect, but we need to get some sort of coverage on that.
If they run it back on the line judge's side, you got real problems.
Yeah.
That's usually where the fake field goal is too. The kicker's got the referee next to the line.
This is one that they're kicking a field goal from about the 10. And he gets blocked. And he picks it up at the 4. And then you got that. Also.
I don't think the referee's gonna catch.
No, but the referee.
Touchdown, Danny.
But the referee also didn't catch the block. Yeah. So I still don't know the referee. But so this is one where we've got a lot of things happening. We got a field goal attempt inside the 10, around the 10. The ball is partially blocked, picked up at the 4. So we've got a lot of stuff going on right there. That match humanity, and then we have a blindside block. And it's incumbent upon us, the 5 of us, to try to keep vision on all 22 players to prevent that from happening. That's a safety issue. And that's one of those safety issues that shows up very pretty on a film, and it's very hard to see on the film. Everybody can see that on film. But when we're out there, it's hard to see. And so we have to just make sure that we keep a good peripheral vision of all 22 players from that standpoint. And that goal line. And there's a lot of stuff. And with a 5-man crew, there's just gaps. And we have gaps on some of this kicking stuff. And that's one of them. Let's just point out that it's treated the same as a punt. So if it's partially blocked and it's rolling around the 4-yard line and K goes down and picks it up, then that's considered first touching. That's also the ball is dead, that sort of stuff. All right, we talked about all this. So there's one more type of kick, and that's the kick try. And this is unique. It's not. When does a try end? In high school, when does it end? Obviously, it's no good. Okay, we've all seen this video. But when that Kansas State player gets the ball, what should we be doing? Blowing it. All right. And if it's a kick try, once it's obvious that the kick is not going to be any good, what should we be doing? Killing it. If it's a scrimmage play try, they're going for 2, and A fumbles at the 2-yard line, what do? We watch it. We don't kill that.
What if an alert Indian Land player catches the ball, runs into the end zone? It means my butt's going up to do the second game between the 2 because Bruce has fired the other 5.
But so that's what we have to know on if it's a kick try, and once the kick obviously is going to fail, we kill it. But if it's a scrimmage play try, a 2-point try, and A fumbles, we have to let that go until see what happens with this. A could recover and still score, and if B picks it up, it's dead. Water bucket. I hate this.
Me too.
That's just annoying because they walk out there and they're never going to do it, and they shift, and line judge is running around back there. So when does the line judge shift with the water bucket play? When the player shift. Yeah.
If the ball's kicked, it's a back judge's call with the assistance of the referee, and the linesman takes the kicker holder.
It's very important that the line judge in a water bucket play make sure you have the correct number on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Because a lot of times that center will be there, but they'll be so far back behind that center, they're not on the line of scrimmage.
Right.
They snap it out of there.
Now, in this formation, is this snapper eligible? No. What if they shifted it and they moved this guy back and this guy up? So now he's on the end of the line. Is he eligible?
He's got to have that.
He's got to have a number, eligible number. Right. But he could be eligible in this scenario, depending on formation. All right, momentum. So when does momentum come into effect? Side of the 5. How do we mark momentum? All right. Ball's bouncing around, bouncing around. Man, that's tough. Speed. He ain't even my ball. And it's
Call. Referee's all over.
So he picks it up. See inside the 5.
Yeah.
It's close enough. Yep. So where would the ball be placed at for the next?
3.
Yeah.
Clear?
3.
Wait, discuss, yeah.
All right. And all kicks that go into our end zone for what?
Dead ball.
Does it matter who touched it before it goes into the end zone?
No.
Does it matter who recovers it in the end zone after it's been touched and go for it? Last one. All right, so this is that play again. So what has to be decided there? Did the kick end or not? Because if the kick never ended, what is that in high school? That's right. But if we decide that the giant player had possession and the kick didn't end, now what do we have? Touchdown. So that's, and who's going to make that call? Back judge.
But in high school, that ball, that's
Right.
If we rule that the kick did not end, yeah.
But it didn't.
Okay.
But if we ruled that the kick had ended and it was a fumble, then it would be a touchdown. All right. Any questions about kicks before we move on to pass? Got about 30 slides. So first, let's cover the mechanic changes here. Incomplete forward pass. We just have to give the incomplete sign now. We don't have to give the dead ball sign. Okay? And when we give that incomplete signal, that should start the 40-second play clock. Week 0.
Unless
week
it's a
1.
4th down incomplete.
Well, yes. But we'll be lucky if it happens on 1st or 2nd down. And then back judges. What do y'all get to go to now? We go 20 yards deep, right? Always deeper than the deepest. And so if they're snapping it from inside the 20, you're going to end line. So where are we going to turn the goal line over at now for the back judges? Yeah. However, if it's like a 4th and 1 from the 19 or the 18, I'm going to tell my back judge, you got the goal line. Go ahead.
So we had the 20-yard line going in. Right? The back judge is gonna give up the goal line at the 20-yard line?
He's going to the end line.
Correct.
Right. So the back, so you tell me the wings got to get there?
Just say we're from the team.
Why don't we do it from that 19-yard going down?
That'll be next year's change. All right, so forward or backward passes. Do we have any sort of signal for a backward pass?
No.
Who primarily has responsibility for backward passes? If we know it's forward, what do we do? If we know it's backwards, what do we do? If we don't know, we don't know, we kill it. Okay? But we don't punch, we just officiate. Okay? We just officiate. Do we beanbag if it's backwards?
No.
Yeah.
Now, if they do this in high school, is that a power?
That will be next week. Yes. So that was an illegal forward pass. He threw it forward. So what's the spot of the foul? Where he threw it.
Are they gonna start second down?
Yeah.
Start second down?
Tom Bradman does.
Is it going to be second down or first down for the series? First down.
Bruce did this.
Both feet for a legal forward pass. Both feet must be entered behind the neutral zone. Who primarily has that? Referee. Can the umpire assist? Who throws the flag, even with the umpire assisting? Referee. He runs around, he runs around, he runs around. He throws it. So the referee goes to that spot, looks at the down marker, sees if he looks at the umpire, see if he can help, and that's it. Okay. All right, sideline, inline. So this requires some communication, especially that back corner of the end zone. So we don't need to rush. Yeah, I know. We don't need to rush. And this is where, again, we talk about moving versus not moving. Being still and watching it helps your eyes focus a lot better. So he doesn't need to keep moving. He can just stand where he was, and he would be close, and just straddle the line and keep his eyes still. And that helps. That will help you focus on it better. Long runs down the sideline. What do the wing officials need to do before they signal touchdown? Or what does the back judge need to do before he signals touchdown? Check the wing guys. Communicate on that. So on this pylon play, on this corner end zone play, what do those guys need to do? They need to look at each other and make sure everybody's got the same. Because on this one here, I'm not going to play it because it's fast, but who's got the best look at the feet if they're inbounds or out of bounds? Who's got the best look at the ball? Is that always the case? No. So we don't officiate by you take the ball, I'll take the feet. You officiate the play. But on this, make sure that these two guys look at each other and that they're on the same play, on the same decision-making process. So this is one where he's juggling, but that back judge is still. He's just standing there, and that gives his eyes the best chance to make that call.
That helps sell the call.
Yeah. And we talked about this. So his eyes are still. He's looking at the ball. We got a foot down. He's seems to be reaches for it. Now over the middle. Who gets in on the action with passes over the middle? Who gets to umpire? So if the umpire rules a catch, what does he do? Runs the spot. If the umpire has no catch, what happens? Kills it. And what is the one thing that has to happen on that pass play over the middle? Everybody has to look at each other. Everybody has to communicate on that. And if you have it incomplete, you need to come in and kill it. And if you're not sure, y'all can run together and talk about it as well. So, diving catch over the middle. The umpire's got to be coming, back judge. And on this one, he's got his back to one sideline, but the other sideline should be able to see it pretty good. And that's why it takes all four officials Because you just never know the position of the body when you go to catch that football. All right, so that's fast. That's fast. They ruled that complete.
I think he's right. I think he's right.
Yeah. But the key to, so we don't have replay. So for us, if we're going to rule it complete or incomplete, we just need to make sure that wing guys, back judge, umpire, everybody's on the same page. What we don't want to have happen is at halftime or after the game, somebody go in the locker room and go, well, that ball was incomplete. No, okay? Wait till you get to your restaurant with your buddies and then you can say, they screwed that thing up.
Still yelling at them.
But you have to make sure we're on the same page, and the only way to do that is for verbal and eye communication. And first, take our time. Okay, I mean, we can take our time on this and make sure to take that extra half second to make sure everybody's on the same page. Another one.
Garrett, I got a question.
Yep.
From the previous play, if it's close over the middle, close hitting the ground or not, we see it hit the ground, you sell it, point to the ground, sell
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes.
You see it hit the ground, you call it.
Probably blow it in, but you're not
If
sure.
we're not sure, if we're not sure it's complete or incomplete, what do we do? Incomplete. All right, there's another one. False tip, diving attempt. They run together. Back judge. I guess that's a side judge, maybe? Or a field judge. They're all saying catch. Yeah.
Definitely a catch.
Except it's not a catch.
Just look at the colors.
So I'm not really sure, honestly, I'm not sure how the back judge runs in so decisively. I'm not a college guy, Eric, I don't know.
Can't see that.
He can't see that. And neither can that deep wing official. He can't see that either. Well, who can see that? The umpire. Who else might be able to see that?
Wing guy on this side.
Yeah, so the line judge might have a view on that. But either way, we have to make sure that we have the same thing. Okay? And they ran together. They talked about it. But that's what we need to do on this. Intentional grounding. So who's primary for not primary. Whose call is intentional grounding? Referee.
Someone else.
Who helps the referee with intentional grounding? Anybody, really. I mean, it's a family umpire. But the wing guys, the back judge. And so what I will do is I tell my crew, I said, listen, a lot of times I don't know where the ball goes when he throws it. I don't want to know. So I focus in on the passer. I make sure nothing happens with the passer. And if he throws it out of bounds and there's nobody there, you come tell me. Because what I'll do is when he throws the ball and the passer and everything's good, I'll look up and I'm standing where he threw it. I look up and I see what happened. And there's nobody there, come tell me, and I'll drop my flag. There's no rush to this. We don't have to be fast. Nobody says I have to throw my flag within 5 seconds of the down ending. So take my time, you just come and tell me there's nobody there. If for some reason I do throw my flag and the guy, is 5'2" or he fell down or whatever it may be, come tell me and I'll pick it up. But there's no rush to intentional grounding on these calls. Yeah, that's right. I got 40 seconds. We're pumping back up, right? So I'm good to go. He's scrambling, he's scrambling. So we have intentional grounding. Referee's kind of walking up there. Didn't see it, couldn't see it, didn't want to see it. So that wing official needs to be moving towards him to say there's nobody there. Or if with the radios, I have a radio, tell me on the radio there's nobody there, and I can drop it. Okay. John, anything you want to add to the grounding? I need to get the gym a little bit more to get big like this guy. But. All right. So that's intentional grounding. And what's the quarterback going to say to you when he gets up? That's outside the tackle box. And you're going to say, okay, that's nice, but it's still intentional grounding. And what's the coach going to say to you when you throw the flag? Outside the tackle box. You go, that's nice, but that's good. Now, Eric, what did I get one of these shirts that make my arms look humongous? Because I need to know what I need to order my shirt this year, so it looks humongous. Is that like a requirement for college? Is that you have to have a certain tight shirt? All right, now we're downfield. So linemen are not eligible, not allowed to move downfield pending certain requirements, correct? So until a legal forward pass crosses the neutral zone, they cannot move downfield. However, they can move into the expanded neutral zone if they're contacting the lineman at the snap and the contact continues 2 yards. Okay. So.
Ready to tell you that's legal.
These two guys, the circle guys there, will they be eligible to block into the expanded neutral zone? Yes, because contact occurred at the neutral zone. Can that player right there go into the expanded neutral zone and block somebody? No. All right. He's borderline. And so obviously these restrictions end when B touches the pass in or behind the neutral zone. And it does not apply to an illegal forward pass or a legal forward pass caught in or behind the neutral zone. So if the team commits intentional grounding and there's a lineman downfield and the umpire flags it, he doesn't know, he flags it like he should, and comes and tells me that he has an eligible receiver downfield, then I have to realize, wait, we also have intentional grounding, which is an illegal forward pass. So that ineligible downfield penalty goes away. Okay, and that is just a knowledge and it's a math thing. All right. So who's primary on ineligible downfield? Umpire. Who can help? All right. In particular, the backside. The umpire's opened up, watching the play, and there may be a lineman moving behind him that he has to watch out for.
What's you up
All right, we got guys. We got big dudes running downfield. Big guys running downfield. All right. All right. So we got two big guys downfield. We got to have a flag on this. All right, we got a big guy downfield again. Yeah, I get that. Now, are there times that the umpire may throw for a lineman downfield and it not be, we are talking about one intentional grounding, but if it's a screen pass and they catch it at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, that may be legal. And again, the umpire may throw his flag, and when the wing guys go, no, he called it behind. So we're going to pick it up. Okay? That's it. All right, the last thing here. You don't need communication. So Yeah. We got flags.
Yeah. Flag was for something away from the flag. Yeah.
You don't watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it.
It's something.
Okay, so what happened there? The back judge goes and speaks to the referee. And then the back judge goes and talks to the line judge. And then while the back judge and line judge are talking, the referee is giving signals. The way it should have been, the way we need to communicate on this is the back judge and line judge need to talk first and then come tell the referee. Okay, and this is one of those things that if we don't slow down, that we can get wrong. And when I get penalty enforcement wrong, it's because I don't slow down. Because I'm we're just moving along, cruising along here. And I don't take that extra half second to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Sam.
And so on this play here, you have in the corner, that's a difficult call. And you have a lot of things to worry about. And so it makes sense for the back judge to see one thing, the line judge to see something different, get together and talk about it. And then if we pick up the flag, then I'll go explain to the coach why we picked it up. And that's something that we can do. But it looks a lot worse when you reverse that. And the referee is doing signaling, and then the back guys are coming back going, wait a second. Now, one thing that I do is I don't give prelim. I don't give preliminary signals very much, if at all. So you would come tell me what you have, and then I may ask the coach, the captain, or it's obvious. And then I tell my umpire what we're doing, and then I give the signals. I don't know why exactly I developed that habit. It's just my habit of doing that. John, do you do prelims?
Rarely.
Yeah. Dennis? Yeah. So, and I think by not doing prelims, almost kind of avoids this a little bit because what would happen was so the back judge comes and tells me, and then I'm talking to the umpire about what we're going to do, down distance and everything. That gives a few more seconds for them to go, oh, wait a minute, we're not going to do that. So, but again, that's a referee preference thing. And as you work with referees, we all kind of do things a little bit differently sometimes. But what I want to know if there's a penalty is, things that I need to know is what was the result of the play, the clock, okay, am I going to be winding it or not, what the foul was, if you have a number, tell me, and the spot. And then from there, we can sort out what we're going to do. If you think something is wrong with penalty enforcement, what should you do? Blow your whistle, get together and talk about it. Again, don't tell me after the fact that we didn't do something. We need to talk about that right then and there. And who has the spot of the foul, or who has where the penalties are going to be marked off from? And who has where the succeeding spot will be?
It's the opposite.
Opposite. Yeah. Okay.
First.
Yeah. Reverse it. So because of the signaling, that's right. We reverse it because of the signaling. Right. So the linesman goes where the penalty starts, and the judge goes to where it ends, and that's to help the umpire again to have two people mark them off so we know where we're at. And then who typically tells the referee if the clock's going to start on the radio of the snap? Umpire. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's short. Yeah. So that's. All right. Here's another one that requires some communication. This is the last one.
Get my flag. That's the first flag. Right on that spot.
That's the way you're going to see it.
Yeah. That was me on the
Hey,
spot.
great flag going.
It was right on the spot.
And then he hot dogs it by walking backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So what? So he throws it and then I'm going backwards.
They turn it quick, man.
One more time. Throws it and I'm gonna walk backwards.
Why do you have to hit the spot on defensive pass interference?
So what do we need to talk about on this one? So what is the discussion on this play?
Illegal high hit and.
So we're targeting ejection. So the back judge, and I don't have the side clip, but the side clip is the line judge threw his flag too.
Yeah.
Training, right? Okay. Yeah. Threw his flag too. So those two officials need to get together and talk about it and make sure they're on the same page before they go to the referee. And it's my job as a referee not to go running into the huddle while they talk about it, but to get close to them, give them some space, talk about it, and then you come tell me what you got. And then if they came and told me, hey, I've got, targeting, I may say, do you have an injection? Not saying it's injection, but I may pose a question to make sure it's been considered. Okay? I'm not trying to overrule anybody. I'm not trying to say what I thought it was. I may just say, do we have X? Just to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
And that's what I did wrong. I went to the referee. I did not go with the back judge. Talk to him.
Did you see the line judge's flag down?
Mine was the line judge.
Yeah.
I was the line judge. The back judge threw it and we threw it at the same time. I ran to the referee because my problem was I knew what he had, but I should not have. I should have went and got together and discussed it either way.
All right.
Did he have targeting too?
We did not eject the guy. We both had an illegal hit. And that's what we had. Except Tory Miller gave all kinds of crap.
Yeah, that's Mr. Knowledge right there.
Yeah.
But and the main thing is that we just have to talk about that. The two need to talk about it, and anybody else before we move on. And as a referee, it's my job to kind of make sure that happens. So if you ran to me, and I know the back judge had a flag, I should go. And again, if I don't slow myself down, I need to slow myself and say, hey, we need to go talk to the back judge, make sure what he's got, and redirect that way. Okay, and that's where I think, for me personally, just slowing the game down in those cases is the biggest thing. Because that happens fast, we get our adrenaline going, the crowd's into it, coaches are yelling at us.
That's what it was. It was like 20 seconds left in the game. That was fourth down play. And that gave them a first down.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to mechanics? John, anything you want to add to penalties? No. Lynn, anything you want to add back there, Clive, or anything on that?
You just nail on the head. Whenever two officials have a penalty, don't assume one has the same penalty you have. You guys need to come to talk together and then report that information. Not both of you got to go, but you both have the same penalty, and whenever you go talk to the referee, and that way he can administer that penalty accordingly.
Eric, I know you do a referee in college. Anything you want to add to county communication?
That's 67 year 5.
All right. Okay. So remember, Thursday night, all of y'all.
Can I go
Yep.
back to Art?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a flag and he had a flag. Should I ran right to him?
Yes. Yes. You have to beat him. You have to beat him to me. Yeah.
What did you think? Didn't have a foul?
No, it was separation.
You need to talk too.
Yeah.
You might have a better angle.
And that's one of that corner end zone play is one where you can have two different angles big time on that. Because all the back judge sees is a guy like this going into the receiver and the receiver going backwards. If you actually got contacted or not, not 100% sure.
That was also a rule change last year.
Yeah, you can face guard too. Yeah, you can face guard. Yeah.
It's all about English.
But yeah, so Thursday night, mechanic session for everybody out at BC, 6 o'clock. We got a lot of stuff set up to organize it better. And then we will do Rule 9 next Monday. As far as the test goes, still haven't got a lot of guidance from Charlie about the test. But just so you know, what we're going to do is I'm going to put together a review PowerPoint that I'll put on the website for everybody from that standpoint. And then that Thursday before the test, we're going to have a review session in here, and we're going to do case plays. So I've got a bunch of case plays, and what I'll do is I'll send out the plays so that way you can have it beforehand. And then we'll talk about, and the way it would be is like the play, and then it's like A is what was the result of the play, B is what would be the enforcement, C would be like what would be the down and distance of the clock or something like that. Just kind of do it that way. The other thing that we're going to do is Larry and I have access to the Federation test, and so we know how well some of these questions are being answered. And by that I mean the ones that people are getting wrong. And so I'm going to guess that we may see those questions again. And so I will end up putting together a quiz on the website of those questions to kind of help people. Now, if they're stupid, like somebody's, artificial limb came off and everybody's missing that, we're not going to have that. And we're not going to have uniform questions. But if there's some of them are legit, that I will put that together for y'all too and let you know when it's out.
There is a question on the test with an artificial limb.
It's a dead ball if it comes off.
Of the run.
Of the runner. Of the runner. We have so many players that runs off. But so that's kind of, if we get more guidance on the test, I'll let you know. That's kind of what we're going to do with now for the review session for that. Does anybody have anything before we get out of here?
Bruce has no input on this test, mechanics or otherwise. So the Federation said